Today we are talking about something else that often reminds me that dis-ease does begin in the gut. Dis-ease, not disease, huge difference there, right? But dis-ease often begins in the gut. So today's focus is going to be on leaky gut, also known as intestinal hyperpermeability. And although it is a syndrome and maybe not much known out there, there's so much research supporting this over the last 8 to 10 years. It will more and more become, I think, a focus of attention in conventional medicine, but certainly in functional medicine, we are using this. So I just want to talk about a little bit about leaky gut, some areas that you may not think about that could be causing leaky gut, and then of course some common triggers and maybe some symptoms you aren't realizing, and then we'll just wrap it up real quick. So leaky gut, our gut is designed just like this really small tunnel that runs through the entire body, and it has a single layer of cell to protect it. So it's just really thin lining inside this tube, really tight junctures in there that are designed to keep it really tight, and it is to basically filter through only what should be going into the bloodstream. So tight junctures, doesn't let all these proteins break through, doesn't let anything get into the bloodstream that doesn't need to be there. However, when we have things in our body, or we are not putting or creating a great environment for our body by eating certain foods that may be toxic or have glyphosate in them, or perhaps we are low in vitamin D, or maybe we have some sensitivities, food sensitivities that we don't know about, and we continue to eat those foods. Sorry about that. Those things are can cause leaky gut. Also, another big one that we don't really tend to think about because it's over the counter and it should be okay for us to take it. And why would that not be okay? Are over the counter painkillers, Tylenol, Advil, Motrin. These all create gut corrosion basically, and depending on which one it is, can either be impacting more of the gut lining in the stomach or the gut lining in the intestines. So that's why over-the-counter painkillers, you may hear people talk about, well, you shouldn't take that because it could impact the stomach. But it's very true that maybe you don't get a stomach ache, but over time it creates leaky gut, and then this leaky gut maybe further turns into something along the lines, that trigger turns into something more serious. There are many signs and symptoms of leaky gut. Let me just go through a few here. I'm going to miss a bunch because there are a lot to talk about, but I just want to hit a few because sometimes people think, well, I don't have a stomach ache. My gut's fine. When in reality, some of these other symptoms that are going on are actually related to something not right in the gut. So of course, people think gut when they think IBS or irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. We're also talking about celiac disease, allergies, some respiratory infections, even obesity related metabolic syndrome. When you think about fatty liver, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, even in cases where people have struggled with weight. So these things can all be related to gut dysfunction, not only because of the foods we're eating, but also what's in the food that we're eating. What about the toxins that we're breathing, the toxins that we're eating? So, people ask about organic food. Well, I can't taste the difference. And you know what? I will say sometimes you really can't. But the point of that is that when you're eating organic, especially following EWG.org, they are definitely the go-to on the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. Those are fruits and vegetables that they tell you each year which ones have registered with more of the nasties on them. Guys, strawberries have over 30 pesticides and insecticides sprayed on them on the regular. I love strawberries. But now when we buy strawberries, they're all organic. Like, we decide, where are we prioritizing our produce and buying organic? And that's such a thing to think about when you have these symptoms of perhaps leaky gut. So EWG.org is amazing, not only for foods, but any type of product that you're going to use in your house, your deodorant, skincare, shampoo, you name it, they cover all of it, listing it, 1 through 10, 8 or 10, I forget what it is, with all the ingredients. It's a fantastic tool to use when you're trying to clean up the toxins from your lifestyle, not just your diet, but from your lifestyle, right? Because we're breathing in toxins, et cetera, all the time. So toxins, I got off on a tangent there. So yeah, so we talked about some of the symptoms of leaky gut. I mean, gosh, you guys, even autoimmune triggers, lupus, MS, Hashimoto's, can all be signs and symptoms of leaky gut. And again, I want to reiterate, these diseases that I've mentioned, those diagnosed diseases, which I do not do, I don't diagnose. I basically guide people through their health journey on putting things into remission or overcoming GERD or overcoming leaky gut. So I'm just talking about diagnoses here, but I'm not diagnosing. So I want to make sure everyone understands that. These diagnoses and even some of these symptoms are related, yet they aren't. Leaky gut is not causing the condition. Okay, so leaky gut isn't causing the autoimmune disease. It's just that people who have these signs and symptoms, and maybe it has been diagnosed as a disease, also have a number of other health problems, which oftentimes include leaky gut. Okay, so over-the-counter painkillers, organic food, and another one too that I see quite often in my practice, which was so surprising to me. It actually was surprising to me when I found out my own self, because I'm outside in the sun all the time, year round. I'm walking a golf course. I am exercising. I get outside as much as possible, and my vitamin D continues to stay suppressed. Now, low vitamin D can also enhance those gaps in the junctions that, remember, the wider the junction, or those loose junctions, allow for all of these things to get in our bloodstream, cause leaky gut. We can have symptoms all over: skin rash, allergies. Remember, we talked about maybe it's even thyroid dysfunction or thyroid disorder, arthritis. My goodness, there's so many things that all come back to the gut. So our gut houses 2/3 of our immune system. So we really need to think about the gut connection, gut-brain connection. I love it because I'm having more and more clients come to me. I've read about the gut-brain connection. I've got anxiety. Absolutely, that's one place to go. I mean, we need to be going directly to the gut as one of our first sources of inflammation anywhere in the body. Okay, so I just want to bring to your attention really that leaky gut, all of these symptoms are really just a collection of systemic dysfunction going on, or you've got things dripping through those gaps that shouldn't be there. People often ask me, well, everything I eat, even foods I love, even foods I eat every day. Absolutely. And you know why? Because food you eat every day is getting through these gaps. Maybe it's turned into a food sensitivity because it's leaking through. You continue to eat it every day. Maybe you recognize it, maybe you don't. People oftentimes don't recognize that it could be their foods because they eat them every day, and they just think, okay, well, this is life. Maybe it's IBS, maybe it's constipation, maybe it's diarrhea, maybe I have a headache, but I'm eating the same foods every day, or within a given week, I don't recognize that. But we oftentimes too will crave these foods that we often eat because they're endorphins and they feed us and they fuel us. And that can also lead to, especially if it's like, processed food or added sugars, lead to microbial overgrowth or imbalances, SIBO. We're all back to the gut. So I just want to sum it up. pay attention to these things, realize that, leaky gut, intestinal impermeability, hyperimpermeability is definitely a thing, and really start focusing on what is the root cause, what is the driver, start removing those things. In my space, I often talk about 5 R's, but we definitely want to start with the first one being remove. So you want to remove the food or the trigger, and then replace it with something that is going to be supportive and something that is going to support an anti-inflammatory diet. And really think about what it is going on. We don't need all these medications we're getting. We don't need metformin every day. No one has a deficiency of metformin. Okay, we have something going on in our body that just needs to be balanced out. And so we don't need metformin to balance. We just are band-aiding using that. And I'm not picking on anyone or anything. It's just, I know metformin is really common in PCOS. It's also common for people who have type 2 diabetes. And those are just things I see. So anyways, if you are working with a practitioner, I would certainly encourage you to bring this thought process to them, ask them for help, ask them to direct you, ask them to guide you. If you are not working with a functional coach or practitioner, I am obviously very supportive of that. It's changed my own life. I see the benefits with so many of my clients who really are committed to changing their health and want to get better. And they do. Do they get 100%? No, but they come a long way. They come from, 50, 80% to those are at 80, get to 95. Those are at 50, surely get, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. So really, this is for education and, do some more of your own research. Dr. Axe does an amazing job talking about leaky gut and cites many sources. So if that's something you want to think more about or do more research on, I highly encourage you to look it up. Type it specifically. I will say there's a lot being censored from the internet right now when it comes to natural remedies and vitamins and supplements, because other than just removing things, there are definitely vitamins and supplements beyond food that we sometimes have to use as rapid relief to calm the immune system or support the gut in order for it to heal. But it's hard to find these things right now. So if you are not in my Facebook group yet, cheers to your health. It's the number 2. If you're looking on Facebook, certainly get in there because I do talk about these things. That's my intention with the group. And I'm happy to, I can't in that group, can't coach you directly, but I can certainly offer support and give you some direction on where to go. Okay. And again, I don't think I mentioned this, but for those of you who do not know me, my name is Elizabeth Cassano, and I am incredibly passionate about helping people eat better, sleep better, feel better, find more energy in order to thrive and live an amazing life. So I appreciate you tuning in. You guys have an amazing day, and cheers to your health.